The sky over Montana split open with fire. A trail of orange lit the twilight as something tore through the clouds, screaming across the horizon like a second sun. Kai Brennan gripped the wheel of his fire rescue truck, eyes locked on the curling smoke spiraling up from the forest. 20 years on the job and he'd never seen anything like this. Not an aircraft, he muttered, reading the strange arc of descent. No wings, no tail. Trees bowed under a sudden burst of displaced air as the object hit the ground beyond the ridge. Kai pushed the accelerator, tires biting into dirt. He knew these woods, knew the mountain. But nothing here had prepared him for what he found in the clearing. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't even human. Smashed into the earth like a broken jewel lay something crystalline, iridescent, a ship, if it could be called that, formed of alien curves and glowing seams. Its surface flickered with internal light, already fading. Kai leapt out, gear slung across his shoulder. "Hello? Anyone in there?" he called out, climbing through twisted metal that shifted unnaturally underfoot. And then he heard it, a faint wheeze. Labored. Wet. A breath that didn't belong to anything mechanical. He found her under a half-collapsed arch of crystal metal. Her skin was pale green, her blood silver. Curls of deep red hair framed her face, strands moving with a strange grace even in stillness. She was pinned, crushed. Dying. Kai worked fast. Crowbar under beam, muscles straining. He freed her, pulling her delicate frame clear. She was impossibly light. Her chest barely moved. "Stay with me," he whispered, tilting her head. Mouth to mouth. Breath to breath. Her lips were cool. Alien. They tasted of ozone and something sweeter. Once. Twice. A third time. And she gasped. Her eyes flew open, violet with gold flecks. They locked on his with stunning clarity. "You." She whispered, voice like wind chimes, "You brought me back." He knelt, stunned. "Just did CPR. Tried to save you." She struggled upright, fingers touching her lips. She looked at him as if he were both ghost and savior. "Among my people," she said slowly, "only one bonded to your soul can give the breath back." Kai blinked. "Okay, but that's just medical technique. Not magic." She reached out, touching his chest. Her palm was warm now. "Your essence mingled with mine," she said reverently. "We are bonded." "Wait," he said, heart pounding. "Bonded? Like, married? Like, connected? Forever?" She swayed. He caught her. Their eyes met again. "I am Vextra," she said softly. "And now, Kai Brennan, my life belongs to you." The forest was already quiet again by the time Kai carried Vextra out of the wreckage. The fading daylight glinted off the shattered alien hull, but the wind whispered only through pine needles. It felt like the calm after a storm that hadn't yet finished raging. His truck rumbled low as they pulled away from the crash site, tires crunching over broken branches and disturbed soil. Vextra sat beside him, a blanket wrapped around her, borrowed from his emergency kit. Her violet gold eyes stared out the window, taking in the alien world she'd fallen into. "You okay?" Kai asked. "I don't know," she said after a moment. "I am, alive. But not unchanged." He didn't ask more. She seemed delicate, but there was a strength beneath her quiet words. Still, she kept one hand on his arm the whole ride back, as though to anchor herself to him, or perhaps to reassure him she was still there. His cabin was built for solitude. Nestled deep in the mountains, far from town, it had a rough-hewn charm, stone fireplace, exposed beams, heavy wooden furniture. It was a place of silence, usually. But now it pulsed with something new. Kai helped her inside, guiding her to the couch. She sat stiffly, her movements graceful but uncertain. "This is your den," she said softly. "Your scent is here. He chuckled, nervous. Guess I need more ventilation. No, she replied, reaching out to touch the fabric of the throw blanket. It is comforting. Like smoke and pine and heat. He busied himself in the kitchen, making tea. He wasn't sure if she could even drink it, but it was all he had to offer. She took the mug he handed her and cradled it without sipping. Thank you, Kai Brennan. For what? For breath. For warmth. For safety. He sat down across from her. Her eyes found his again. She tilted her head, studying him with a quiet intensity. Do you feel it? She asked. Feel what? The pull. The connection. I can hear your thoughts, not the words, but the color of them. The feeling. Kai frowned slightly. I feel like I want to keep you safe. Like you're not a stranger. Even though we just met. She nodded. The bond is real, then. This bond. It's permanent. As permanent as the breath between us. On Zithra, it is sacred. Rarely formed. Rarer still across species. She finally sipped the tea. Her expression didn't change, but she finished half the mug in one go. Kai watched her throat move as she swallowed, the faint shimmer of her skin catching the firelight. Why were you flying alone? He asked. Her eyes dimmed a little. She set the mug down. I was fleeing. From an arranged union. From a life chosen for me. My house, my family, they promised me to a male of great power. But not one of great heart. She looked away. I would rather die in fire than live without choice. Kai leaned forward. So you ran. And then, crashed. Yes. And in dying, I found you. Silence stretched between them. Not uncomfortable. Just, full. What happens now? He asked. I don't know. I must hide. My people will come. They will search. And if they find you, they will take me. Break the bond. Kai felt something cold settle in his chest. He didn't want that. He didn't know why, not fully. But the thought of her being taken from him felt wrong in a way that had nothing to do with reason. Then we won't let them find you, he said. This place is off-grid. It's safe. Vextra looked at him, something like wonder in her eyes. You would protect me? Even now? Even knowing what I am? You're someone who didn't want to be used. That makes you a person. She rose and crossed the room. Stopped inches from him. She lifted one hand, fingers brushing his cheek. You don't fear me. No. Do you desire me? Kai hesitated. Her touch was electric. Her presence overwhelming. And the bond, it hummed between them like a living thread. I do, he said simply. She exhaled slowly, and it sounded like relief. Then let us share warmth. She leaned forward, her lips brushing his. Soft. Tentative. Not the urgent kiss of survival, this was something else. An offering. Kai responded, arms slipping around her. The kiss deepened. Her body pressed to his, alien and yet so achingly familiar. Like they'd known each other forever. When they parted, her breathing was shallow. She rested her forehead to his. Your heartbeat is fast, she whispered. You're intense, he said with a shaky laugh. She smiled. It was radiant. You are mine now, Kai Brennan. And I am yours. Until the stars forget their names. That night, she slept in his bed. Not together, not yet, she needed rest. But she curled into him like she belonged there, and he held her as if she were the only thing anchoring him to the earth. Outside, the wind carried the smoke of the wreckage away. And in the hush of the cabin, two hearts beat in harmony, bound by breath, sealed by fate. AI woke to the scent of pine smoke, coffee, and the faintest hint of starlight. Vextra was already awake, standing by the window in one of his flannel shirts. The sleeves were too long, the hem falling nearly to her knees, but she wore it with a kind of regal elegance that made him pause. Her red curls glowed in the early light, casting a soft hue against her green skin. She looked like something from a dream, like a goddess wrapped in mortal fabric. She turned at the sound of his movement. "Your world is so quiet in the morning," she said. "You say that like it's a bad thing." "No," she replied, walking over. "It's soothing. Where I come from, there is always noise. Always pressure. The hum of politics. The drone of ceremony." Kai reached for her hand. She let him take it, their fingers entwining naturally. "You ever miss it?" "Not for a second." For a while, they didn't speak. They ate in silence, sitting at his kitchen table, their knees brushing under the wood. She tried peanut butter toast for the first time, declared it startling but addictive, and then asked him about every spice in his cabinet. But the peace shattered that afternoon. A sound split the sky, low, pulsing. Wrong. Kai dropped the firewood he was carrying and sprinted toward the cabin. Vextra met him at the door, her expression pale. "They're here." He didn't ask who. He knew. 3 shapes broke through the clouds above the ridge, sleek, crystalline vessels moving with eerie grace. They hovered silently before descending in perfect triangular formation in the clearing beyond his cabin. Vextra's hand tightened in his. "We must go." "Where?" "They saw the cabin. They'll track us." She swallowed hard. "Then we stand. Or they will chase us forever." Kai grabbed his emergency kit, shoving supplies into a duffel. Flashlight. First aid. Flare gun. Vextra stopped him. "Not weapons. Diplomacy. They will not respond to force. They respect only the old ways. So what do we do? We make them see the bond. We prove it." Kai stared at her. "And if they don't believe it? Then they take me." He cupped her face, eyes blazing. "They'll have to kill me first." "No," she said fiercely. "If they harm you, they forfeit their honor. The breath bond is sacred, but only if it manifests. We must call it forth." "How?" "With truth. With love." The cabin door trembled as boots landed outside. Heavy footfalls approached. Kai stepped in front of her, just as the door burst inward. A man entered. If he could be called that. 7 feet tall, armored in luminous silver, his skin a darker green than Vextra's, his features carved from pride and cruelty. His eyes, gold, cold, calculating. "Commander Thial," Vextra said flatly. He smiled, without warmth. "So the prodigal survives." Kai tensed. 2 others flanked the commander, their armor humming softly with restrained energy. "And this is the creature who dares interfere in Zithian affairs." Kai stepped forward. "She's not property. She's free." Thial laughed. It sounded like stone breaking. "You misunderstand. She is oath-bound. Promised. Her survival is irrelevant. Her defiance, punishable." Vextra moved to Kai's side. "The bond is real." Thial's face darkened. "You speak of a myth. Then witness it." Kai turned to her. He didn't hesitate. "Not this time." He kissed her. Not a peck. Not desperation. A kiss that spoke of everything they'd shared since that first breath. Firelight. Whispered laughter. The safety of holding each other through the night. It poured through their connection, and the air changed. The room brightened with unseen light. From where their lips met, gold spirals of energy bloomed outward. Soft at first. Then radiant. wrapping around them in warm waves. The hum of something ancient, alive. The floor trembled. The guard staggered back. Thial's eyes widened. This cannot be. Kai pulled away only when the glow dimmed. Vextra's breath was unsteady, but her eyes shone with power. You see it now. You summoned the breath bond, Thial murmured, almost to himself. It hasn't manifested like this in 1,000 years. Because it requires more than ritual, she said. It requires choice. And I choose him. Thial's jaw clenched. Even if the bond is real, it does not dissolve duty. You will return with me. No, I invoke the atisma. The right of chosen path. A ripple passed through the guards. They shifted uneasily. The atisma has not been used in centuries. But it has never been revoked. By law, my bond supersedes your claim. Thial advanced, hand on his sidearm. You would exile yourself for this primitive? I would burn the stars for him. Kai felt it then, not just her defiance, but her love. It radiated between them, undeniable. A voice rang out from the doorway. She speaks true. Another figure entered, older, robed in flowing robes of light crystal thread. His presence quiet but commanding. Counselor Jareth, Vextra said, bowing slightly. I have watched from orbit. The bond is real. The choice, sovereign. Thial turned to the counselor, fury barely contained. This is treason. This is precedent. Love cannot be commanded. The guards hesitated. One lowered his weapon. Thial stared at them, betrayed. You are all fools. She is of noble blood. Her duty is to her soul, Jareth said simply. Kai stepped forward. If she leaves by her will. Not yours. And if you try to force her, you'll have to go through me. Thial sneered. You are nothing. A ground-born. A savage. Maybe. But I'm hers. Vextra came to Kai's side, placing her hand over his heart. And I am his. A tense silence filled the room. Then Thial lowered his weapon. So be it. Exile. I wash my hands of you. But know this, the stars are vast. You will not be welcome among your own. Then I will make a new home, Vextra said. With him. Thial turned and walked away, his guards following. Jareth remained. This will not be easy. We don't need easy, Kai said. We just need each other. Jareth offered a small, knowing smile. Then may your bond light the path for others. It is time our people remember what love looks like. Morning came softly over the Montana ridge, casting warm gold over the dew-dappled pines and the distant clearing where crystalline ships once hovered. The sky was empty now, but Kai and Vextra stood together on the porch of the cabin, their hands entwined and the silence between them thick with change. They're gone, Kai said, watching the last shimmer in the sky fade away. Vextra nodded. Her red curls were still damp from the shower, curling at the ends in loose spirals. She looked rested but distant, her eyes always on something farther than the horizon. For now, she said. But this exile, it is not a pause. It is a fracture. A declaration. Kai turned to face her. Do you regret it? No, she said. Then quieter, not for a heartbeat. Her words were steady, but he felt the tremor in her fingers. The bond between them didn't just share warmth or attraction. It transmitted emotion in pulses and flares, and right now, Kai could feel the weight of her choice. The grief beneath the defiance. You don't have to face it alone, he said. She smiled at that, small and grateful. I know. By noon, the two of them were hiking through the back trails to the old ranger station where Kai had access to a satellite uplink. It wasn't much, but it let him communicate in emergencies. This was one of those. They needed help. Not just to explain what had happened, but to protect what was coming next. Within 48 hours, Earth's government had dispatched a science envoy. A helicopter set down in the clearing, and a man in a Navy windbreaker stepped out, squinting at the sun. Kai Brennan. That's me. I'm Director Bentley from the National Institute for Planetary Relations. Kai blinked. We have one of those. We do now, Bentley replied dryly. Vextra stayed mostly silent during the initial debriefing. When she did speak, it was with authority and precision. Kai watched Bentley's skepticism erode with every word she spoke. You're saying this bond is not symbolic. It is physiological, neurological, emotional. And it is permanent. Bentley studied her for a long moment, then finally said, well. Then we have a lot of learning to do. In the weeks that followed, Kai's quiet world turned inside out. The cabin became a hub of activity. Scientists, linguists, envoys. The forest filled with equipment and hushed conversations. Kai didn't mind. Not really. He was used to adapting under pressure. Wildfires. Rescues. This was just a new kind of crisis. But Vextra, she took it harder. She withdrew at first, overwhelmed by the sudden scrutiny. It was Kai who built the space she needed, quiet time by the lake, long walks through untouched trails, simple meals without questions or data collection. And slowly, she emerged again. She began sketching new designs in the notebooks Bentley's team had left. Designs for buildings that merged Zithian crystal growth methods with human engineering. If I can't return home, she said, then I will build a new one. One that welcomes both. Kai kissed her forehead. Start with one room. Then the rest will follow. 3 months later, a groundbreaking ceremony was held in a cleared valley south of the ridge. The Interspecies Relations Center. Vextra and Kai stood side by side as the first panel of crystal fused with human-formed steel. Around them, cameras flashed, politicians made speeches, and Bentley nodded like a proud uncle. You know, Kai whispered, this is a hell of a leap from fire rescue. And a longer leap from arranged betrothals, she said with a wink. He laughed, the sound grounding them both in the surreal moment. As the structure rose over the weeks, it began to reflect more than architecture. It reflected compromise. Possibility. The fragile peace between species previously unknown to each other. And it reflected them. One morning, Vextra emerged from their private quarters carrying 2 mugs of tea. Your people brew leaves. Mine ferment root spores. Both are terrible without sugar. Kai took the mug, grinning. We're already making cultural progress. She sat beside him, legs tucked under her, wearing a robe of deep indigo threaded with growing strands of crystal vine. They'll come again, she said softly. My people. Not just the ones who hunted me. Others. Outcasts. Doubters. Dreamers. Let them come. We have room. They won't be welcomed everywhere. They'll be welcomed here. On the 97th day of exile, a new ship appeared in the sky. Not sleek like the others. Not military. This one bore colors of mourning. And hope. It landed outside the center, and from it emerged 2 Zithians with hands raised in peace. Vextra met them in the courtyard, flanked by Kai and Bentley. You are the one who defied the 7th house, one of them said. I am the one who chose, she corrected. We have chosen, too. Exile or no exile. We wish to stay. Vextra looked at Kai, and then back at them. Then welcome. In time, more came. And with them, new languages, new alliances, new challenges. But always, there was the bond. In quiet moments, Kai and Vextra returned to the cabin. They lit the fire. They slept in the same bed. They walked in silence. And the world spun forward around them. The interspecies relations center had grown from concept to reality in a matter of months. Now, its central tower stood gleaming in the valley, a blend of Zithian crystal growth and human steel engineering. Light refracted through its walls in soft color patterns, changing with the position of the sun, as if breathing with the rhythm of life itself. Kai stood by the main entrance, a tablet in one hand and a stylus in the other. He'd traded smoke-stained overalls for a button-up shirt and a visitor badge, but the wilderness was still in his walk and the fireline in his eyes. Behind him, the courtyard buzzed with quiet activity. Zithians and humans alike moved side by side, trading, teaching, listening. A child with soft blue skin and jet-black eyes chased a soccer ball across a stone path while a human boy laughed and joined her. Peace didn't come easy. But it was growing. Vextra emerged from the center's administrative wing, dressed in ceremonial robes stitched from hybrid fibers of earth cotton and Zithian silkweave. Her steps were graceful, fluid, and her eyes found Kai instantly across the courtyard. "You've been out here for hours," she said when she reached him. "Watching it all come together," he replied. "Still feels like magic." She looked out over the valley. "It's more than magic. It's will. And choice. And breath." They stood together for a long moment, the bond between them quiet but strong. They no longer needed to speak to feel each other's presence. "How are the integration talks going?" "Better than expected," Vextra said. 2 more houses have agreed to exploratory exchange programs. Even Thial has issued a formal acknowledgement of our efforts. Kai arched an eyebrow. "Is that his version of an apology?" "It is his version of surrender." They both smiled. Later that evening, they returned to their suite within the center. Though diplomatic quarters had been offered, they chose the residential wing designed for long-term settlers, a gesture to show that they were living what they preached. Vextra curled up beside the fireplace, legs tucked beneath her, reading from a datapad. "There's something I haven't told you," she said. Kai set down his tea. "That always sounds like the start of a problem." "I think it's a start of something else." He moved to sit beside her. Her expression was serious but not afraid. "What is it?" "I went to the med bay this morning. I've been feeling different. Not unwell. Just changed." He stiffened slightly. "Is something wrong?" "No," she said, and took his hand. "Something is very right." She guided his hand to her belly. There was no bump yet, but through the bond, he felt it, a pulse. Soft. New. And wholly real. His breath caught. "Vextra, are you saying we're going to have a child, Kai?" His hands trembled. His voice, when it came, was barely a whisper, but how? "The bond does more than merge emotion. It synchronizes us on a molecular level. Our cells, adapted. Harmonized." He stared at her in awe. "The first." "Yes," she said, "the first true hybrid. Human and Zithian. Born of love, not science." The weight of it settled over him, not like a burden, but like sunlight. Warm. Undeniable. He leaned in and kissed her. Gently. Reverently. "What does this mean for us?" "It means," she whispered, "we are not just the bridge between our people. We are the architects of what comes next." Months passed. The pregnancy progressed without complication. Zithian medicine and human care protocols combined to create a new approach, one that could support the unique biology of their unborn child. Researchers observed from a respectful distance, but Kai and Vextra kept the experience sacred. In the nursery room of their quarters, sunlight poured in through faceted windows. Kai painted a mural on the wall, a depiction of stars, forests, and a tiny home wrapped in flame and light. Vextra added to it in her own way, growing luminous crystal filaments from the baseboard, each one humming with soft energy. "Will they be like you?" Kai asked one night as they watched the stars through the skylight. And like you, she said. Our child will be the first to belong to both skies. Have you thought of a name? I have many, she said. But I want them to choose their own, when they are ready. Sounds fair. She rested her head on his chest. I want them to know they were born from choice. Not law. From love, not duty. They will, he said. On the day of the birth, silence fell over the entire center. Vextra gave birth surrounded by midwives from both species. Her cries echoed in a room aglow with soft energy, and when the baby finally arrived, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that something miraculous had happened. A child with luminous greenish skin and dark brown eyes, a crown of soft crimson hair, and a faint gold shimmer beneath the skin, as if the breath bond itself still pulsed through them. Kai held the infant, stunned and weeping. Hello, little one, he whispered. Welcome to the stars. News spread fast. Not just across Earth, but through Zithian space. The child became a symbol, of what was possible, of peace forged not in treaties but in hearts. And with it came change. More Zithian families arrived. Earth opened its borders to peaceful exiles. Schools were built that taught in two tongues. The Interspecies Relations Center became a thriving city. And Kai and Vextra, they remained its heart. They raised their child not as a symbol, but as a person. A laughing, curious, bright soul who walked in both worlds and belonged to neither and both at once. On their child's third birthday, Kai stood on the balcony with Vextra, watching their little one chase fireflies through the garden. Do you ever miss your world? He asked. Sometimes, she said. But this world gave me everything that matters. You gave up everything for me. No, she said, pressing her hand to his chest. I traded the expected for the extraordinary. He kissed her slowly, deeply. And when they pulled apart, he whispered, I love you. And I love you, she replied. And as the stars blinked alive above them, their child laughed in the dark, light sparking at their fingertips, a glow neither entirely human nor entirely Zithian. But wholly something new.